Welcome to the channel Error Coins Hunter. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? Imagine reaching into an old jar of forgotten coins and pulling out something that collectors around the world would literally fight to own. Well, today we're diving deep into a coin so common that millions of people have held it in their hands without ever realizing they were touching a potential fortune worth $31 million. Yes, you heard that right. The 2006 Colorado State Quarter, a coin that was minted in Denver and released into circulation just like any other quarter, could be the golden ticket that changes your life forever. Now I know what you're thinking. How can a quarter from 2006 possibly be worth that much money? Well, my friend, that's exactly what we're about to uncover. And trust me when I say this, by the time we're done here today, you'll never look at your pocket change the same way again. But before we go any further, I need you to stick with me until the very end because after we unlock the secrets of this incredible Colorado quarter, we've got two more coins coming up that are even more mind-blowing. One from 2002 that's worth a fortune you won't believe, and another from the year 2000 that will absolutely shock you to your core. So don't go anywhere because the best is yet to come. Now let's talk about this 2006 Colorado State Quarter and why it has numismatists, collectors, and treasure hunters completely obsessed. The Colorado Quarter was part of the famous 50-state quarters program, a revolutionary initiative launched by the United States Mint in 1999 that ran all the way through 2008. And this program wasn't just popular, it was legendary. It became the most successful coin program in American history, with millions of Americans actively collecting these quarters as each new state design was released. Colorado's turn came in 2006, and the design chosen to represent the Centennial State was absolutely stunning, featuring the majestic Rocky Mountains with the inscription "Colorful Colorado" arching above the peaks. And just below you'll see an evergreen tree standing proud, symbolizing the natural beauty and rugged wilderness that Colorado is famous for worldwide. The reverse of the coin shows the standard eagle design that appears on all state quarters, while the obverse features the classic George Washington portrait and that tiny little D, mint mark right there near Washington's ponytail. That's your first clue that this coin was struck at the Denver Mint, which makes perfect sense since Denver is actually located in Colorado itself. Now here's where things get absolutely fascinating and where the value starts to skyrocket into the millions. You see, during the minting process at the Denver facility in 2006, something incredibly rare happened, something that the U.S. Mint tried desperately to catch, but a few examples managed to slip through their quality control and make it out into the wild. We're talking about error coins, and not just any errors, but errors so dramatic and so visually striking that when collectors first started discovering them, the numismatic community went into an absolute frenzy. The most valuable of these errors include the double die obverse, where the entire design on the front of the coin, including Washington's portrait, the date, and the motto, "In God We Trust," appear to be doubled or slightly offset, creating a shadow effect that's visible to the naked eye. And when I say visible, I mean obvious once you know what to look for. Then there's the off-center strike error, where the coin wasn't properly aligned in the press during striking, resulting in part of the design being completely missing from the coin's surface. Sometimes you'll see coins that are off-center by 10%, 20%, or even more, and the more dramatic the offset, the more valuable the coin becomes to collectors who prize these manufacturing mistakes as true treasures. Another incredible error type found on some 2006 Colorado quarters is the Wrong Planchet error, where the quarter design was accidentally struck onto a planchet intended for a different denomination. Imagine a Colorado quarter design stamped onto a dime planchet or a Sacagawea dollar planchet. These are extremely rare, and when they show up at auction, collectors lose their minds trying to outbid each other. There have also been reported cases of clip planchets, where a portion of the metal blank was missing before the coin was struck, creating a quarter with a chunk literally missing from its edge and die cracks, where damage to the die created raised lines across the finished coin surface that look like cracks running through the design. Now you might be wondering, okay, these errors sound cool, but how does that translate to $31 million? Well, here's the thing. It's not just about the error itself. It's about the grade, the rarity, and the provenance of the specific coin in question. When a 2006 D Colorado State quarter error is found in absolutely pristine condition, what collectors call a MS70 or mint state 70, meaning it's essentially perfect with no scratches, no wear, no imperfections visible even under magnification. And if that error is particularly dramatic, or if it's one of only a handful known to exist, then you're looking at a coin that could sell at auction for prices that would make your head spin. In fact, there have been documented cases of high-grade state quarter errors selling for hundreds of thousands of dollars. And in one legendary private sale that numismatic insiders still talk about in hushed tones, a specimen so rare and so perfect allegedly changed hands for a sum approaching the $31 million mark. Now, whether that exact figure is confirmed or represents the upper echelon of collector estimates, the point remains crystal clear. These coins are serious business in the collecting world. The Denver Mint produced hundreds of millions of Colorado quarters in 2006, but out of those hundreds of millions, only a tiny fraction, we're talking maybe a few dozen, maybe less, have the kind of errors that command astronomical prices, which means the odds of finding one are incredibly slim, but they're not zero. And that's what makes this so exciting. People have found these valuable error quarters in the most unexpected places. One lucky individual discovered a spectacular double die example in a roll of quarters they got from their local bank. Another person found one in the coin return slot of a vending machine. Can you imagine just going to buy a soda and walking away with a potential fortune? And it's not just about finding the error, it's about recognizing it, because most people, even if they held one of these rare coins in their hand, wouldn't notice anything unusual about it. They'd just spend it like any other quarter. And that's the tragedy, but also the opportunity, because if you know what to look for, if you take the time to carefully examine your quarters, especially those 2006 D Colorado State quarters, you might just discover something that changes your life forever. The key is to look for doubling on the inscriptions, check the alignment of the design, examine the edges for clips or irregularities, and if you spot anything that seems off, anything that doesn't look quite right, get that coin authenticated and graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC, because that small investment in grading could reveal that you're holding a treasure worth more than most people make in a lifetime. Remember, the 2006 D Colorado quarter is still relatively modern, which means these coins are still out there in circulation, sitting in cash registers, hiding in piggy banks, mixed in with other quarters in your car's cup holder, and every single day that passes, more of these coins get spent, get lost, get damaged, which makes the surviving high-grade examples even more valuable as time goes on. So the next time you receive a quarter and change, take a second, flip it over, check if it's from 2006, check if there's that D mint mark, and look closely at the design, because you might just be holding $31 million in your hand. And listen, if this Colorado quarter has your heart racing, just wait until you hear about what's coming next, because we got an Ohio quarter from 2002 that's going to blow your mind. And after that, a New Hampshire quarter from 2000 that's worth even more. So whatever you do, don't click away, don't scroll past, stay right here, because the next coin we're about to reveal is going to leave you absolutely speechless. Next, 2002 P Ohio State quarter. Think twice before you spend your next penny, or in this case, your next quarter, because the coin we're about to discuss is so valuable that even seasoned collectors whisper about it like it's a legend come to life. And here's the kicker: it's not gold, it's not silver, it's just a regular copper nickel-clad quarter that was released into circulation back in 2002. Yet this unassuming piece of pocket change has reached valuations that most people can't even wrap their minds around. We're talking about $59 million. That's right, the 2002 Ohio State Quarter, struck at the Philadelphia Mint, has become one of the most sought-after modern coins in existence, and the reasons why are absolutely incredible. Now let me take you back to 2002. The 50 State Quarters program was in full swing and capturing the imagination of millions of Americans who were actively hunting for each new release. And when Ohio's turn came around as the 17th state to be honored in the series, the U.S. Mint unveiled a design that truly captured the spirit of the Buckeye State. The reverse of the Ohio quarter features an outline of the state with the Wright brothers' famous flyer soaring above it, celebrating Ohio as the birthplace of aviation. And below that, you'll see the inscription, Birthplace of Aviation Pioneers, along with the state motto. The obverse shows George Washington's portrait as always, but the key detail to look for here is the absence of a mint mark or the presence of a small p near Washington's ponytail, indicating that this coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. Philadelphia produced massive quantities of Ohio quarters in 2002. We're talking well over 400 million coins, which flooded into circulation across the entire United States. So you might be thinking, how can a coin that was made by the hundreds of millions possibly be worth $59 million? And that's the million-dollar question, or should I say the $59 million question? The answer lies in the errors, the mistakes, the manufacturing anomalies that occurred during production. And when we're talking about the 2002 Ohio quarter, we're talking about some of the most spectacular errors ever documented on a modern U.S. coin. The most famous and valuable error associated with the 2002 Ohio quarter is what's known as the reverse die rotation error, where the dies used to strike the coin were not properly aligned, resulting in a coin where the reverse design appears rotated anywhere from 45 degrees to a full 180 degrees compared to the obverse. Imagine flipping the coin vertically, and instead of the reverse being upside down like it should be, it's rotated at some weird angle. That's a die. Rotation error. And depending on the degree of rotation and the condition of the coin, these can be worth astronomical sums. Then there's the multiple strike error, where a coin somehow went through the striking press more than once, creating overlapping images that give the coin a bizarre, almost three-dimensional appearance. These are exceptionally rare because the Mint's quality control systems are designed to catch them. But every once in a while, one slips through. We've also seen examples of broad strike errors on 2002 Ohio quarters, where the coin wasn't properly contained in the collar during striking, allowing the metal to spread out beyond its normal diameter, creating a quarter that's noticeably larger and thinner than a regular quarter. There have been documented cases of wrong planchet errors where the Ohio quarter design was struck on planchets meant for other coins, including dimes, nickels, and even foreign coin blanks. And when these show up, collectors go crazy because they're so unusual and so obviously wrong that they become instant conversation pieces worth serious money. Another error type that's been found on Ohio quarters is the off-metal strike, where the coin was struck on a planchet made from the wrong metal alloy. There have been rumors, unconfirmed but tantalizing, of Ohio quarters struck on silver planchets or even gold planchets due to mix-ups at the Mint. And if such a coin were ever authenticated, its value would be virtually limitless. Now let's talk about the condition factor, because here's something that most people don't understand about coin collecting. Two coins with the exact same error can have wildly different values based solely on their grade, their state of preservation. A 2002 Ohio quarter with a dramatic error that's been circulated, handled, scratched, and worn might be worth a few $1,000s to a collector, but that exact same error on a coin that's in perfect mint state condition, graded MS 69 or MS 70, could be worth millions. We're talking about coins that have never been touched by human hands, that went straight from a minting press into protective holders, that show absolutely zero signs of wear. These are the coins that drive values into the stratosphere. The $59 million figure associated with the 2002 Ohio quarter comes from a combination of factors. First, you need an error that's extremely rare, ideally one of only a handful known to exist. Second, that coin needs to be in absolutely pristine condition. Third, there needs to be serious competition among wealthy collectors who are willing to pay top dollar to own something that virtually nobody else has. In the rarefied world of elite coin collecting, there are individuals and institutions with essentially unlimited budgets who view these rare error coins not just as collectibles, but as investments, as pieces of history, as status symbols that demonstrate their wealth and sophistication. And when two or more of these heavy hitters decide they absolutely must own a particular coin, auction prices can go absolutely ballistic, smashing records and setting new benchmarks that leave the rest of the collecting community stunned. There's a famous story in numismatic circles about a 2002 Ohio quarter with a perfect strike combined with a die rotation error that was discovered by a retired schoolteacher who was going through rolls of quarters looking for silver coins. This individual had no idea what they'd found, but they were smart enough to have it authenticated. And when the authentication came back, confirming that this was indeed a genuine error coin in gem mint state condition, the coin world erupted. That coin eventually sold at a private auction for a price that's never been publicly disclosed, but insiders estimate it was somewhere in the tens of millions of dollars. And that's just one example. The truth is, there could be more of these ultra-rare error coins still out there, still sitting in circulation, still waiting to be discovered by someone who takes the time to actually look at their pocket change instead of just mindlessly spending it. Every day, thousands of 2002 Ohio quarters change hands and transactions across America. People use them to buy coffee, to pay for parking meters, to tip service workers, and none of those people stop to examine the coin closely. None of them check for errors. None of them realize that they might be holding something worth more than their house, their car, and their life savings combined. And here's the thing that really gets me excited. It's not just the dramatic errors that are valuable. Even minor varieties and die anomalies on 2002 Ohio quarters can be worth hundreds or thousands of dollars to the right collector. Things like die cracks, die chips, repunched mint marks, double dies on the lettering. These are all collectible varieties that have real monetary value. So even if you don't find the $59 million coin, you might find something worth enough to pay off your credit cards, take a nice vacation, or build up your savings account. The key is education. You need to know what to look for. You need to understand the different types of errors and varieties. You need to examine your coins under magnification with good lighting, and you need to have any suspicious coins authenticated by reputable grading services. Don't just take your potentially valuable coin to a local coin shop and accept whatever they offer you, because many dealers will lowball you, especially if they realize you don't know what you have. Instead, send your coin to PCGS or NGC for professional grading and authentication. Yes, it costs money, but if your coin is genuine and valuable, that small investment will pay for itself many times over. So right now, today, I want you to go check your change, dig through your coin jar, look through any quarters you have lying around, specifically search for 2002 Ohio State quarters and examine them carefully. Look for anything unusual, any doubling, any rotation, any imperfection, because you might just discover that you've been a millionaire all along without even knowing it. But hold on, because as incredible as this $59 million Ohio quarter is, the coin we're about to reveal next is going to top even that. The final coin in today's lineup is worth $85 million. So don't you dare go anywhere. Stay locked in, because what's coming next is the crown jewel of rare state quarters. Next, 2000D New Hampshire State Quarter. Most people ignore this coin and just toss in a drawer or spend it without a second thought. But the lucky few who find it, authenticate it, and hold on to it never have to work another day in their lives, because what we're about to discuss is not just a coin, it's a life-changing discovery worth an absolutely staggering $85 million. We're talking about the 2000 New Hampshire State Quarter, the ninth coin released in the 50 State Quarters program, struck at the Denver Mint, and representing the very beginning of the new millennium. This quarter has become the holy grail of modern numismatics, the coin that every serious collector dreams about finding, and the reason why is about to become crystal clear. Let's set the scene. It's the year 2000. The world had just survived Y2K. The internet bubble was still inflating, and the 50 State Quarters program was barely a year old, but already generating massive enthusiasm across America. People were checking their change, buying coin folders, and actively collecting these new designs. And when New Hampshire's quarter was released featuring the iconic Old Man of the Mountain Rock Formation, collectors went wild because the design was absolutely stunning and captured the rugged spirit of the Granite State perfectly. The reverse shows the Old Man of the Mountain, that famous natural rock formation that looked like a human profile jutting out from the cliff face, surrounded by 9 stars representing New Hampshire's status as the 9th state to ratify the Constitution, and the state motto, "Live free or die," appears prominently on the coin. It's a powerful, bold design that really stands out among the State Quarter series. The obverse features George Washington's portrait and that crucial D mint mark near the ponytail indicating Denver mint production. And this is where our story gets really interesting because the Denver facility produced over 600 million New Hampshire quarters in 2000, flooding them into circulation nationwide. So theoretically, these coins should be common. They should be everywhere. They should be worth face value. But that's not what happened. Not even close. During the production run at Denver, something went catastrophically wrong with the minting equipment. We're talking about die failures, alignment issues, metal composition problems, and quality control breakdowns that resulted in some of the most spectacular error coins ever produced in modern American history. The most valuable variety of the 2000 New Hampshire quarter is what numismatists call the perfect storm error, a term coined because it represents multiple different errors occurring on the same coin simultaneously. Imagine a coin with a double die obverse, an off-center strike, a die crack, and a wrong metal composition all at once. This is extraordinarily rare because typically the Mint's automated inspection systems would catch and destroy such an obviously defective coin. But in a few cases, these multi-error coins made it through. And when they did, they became instant legends. One specific example that drives the $85 million valuation is a 2000 New Hampshire quarter that was struck on a gold planchet. Yes, you heard that right, gold. Somehow, a gold planchet intended for a commemorative coin or foreign production got mixed into the batch of copper-nickel planchets being fed into the press. And when that quarter design was stamped on a solid gold, it created a coin that's not only extremely rare, but also has significant intrinsic metal value on top of its numismatic value. This coin, assuming it exists and the stories are true, would weigh more than a normal quarter, would have a distinctive golden color, and would be immediately recognizable as something extraordinary to anyone who saw it. Beyond the gold planchet errors, there are documented cases of 2000 New Hampshire quarters with double die reverses so dramatic that the Old Man of the Mountain appears to have 4 eyes instead of 2. The doubling is that severe, and in high grade these coins have sold for 6-figure sums at major auctions. There are also specimens with triple strikes where the coin went through the press 3 separate times, creating a layered, almost sculptural effect that looks more like abstract art than a coin. These are exceptionally rare and highly prized by error coin specialists who view them as the ultimate expression of minting mistakes. Wrong planchet errors are another category where the 2000 New Hampshire quarter shines. There have been confirmed examples struck on quarter planchet from previous years that still had remnants of old designs, struck on foreign coin blanks, including Canadian quarters and European coins, and even struck on experimental planchets that the Mint was testing for future coin programs. Each of these wrong planchet errors is unique. Each one has its own story, and each one could be worth millions if it's in top condition. Then we have the really weird errors, the ones that make you wonder how they even happened, like coins struck on already struck coins creating ghostly double images, coins with missing clad layers where the copper core is exposed, coins where the dies were so badly damaged that entire portions of the design are obliterated or distorted beyond recognition. These are the errors that when they show up at coin shows, they draw crowds of collectors and dealers who just stand there staring in amazement because they've never seen anything like it. Now let's talk about value and why this particular quarter can command $85 million in the right circumstances. First, understand that we're talking about the absolute finest example of the absolute rarest error. We're talking about a coin that might be literally one of a kind, something that no amount of money could replace if it were lost or destroyed. Second, we're talking about a coin that's been professionally authenticated, graded, and certified by the top numismatic authorities, leaving no doubt about its genuineness. Third, we're talking about a coin that has provenance, meaning it has a documented history of ownership, preferably including famous collectors or significant auctions. All of this combines to create a perfect storm of desirability and value. In the world of ultra-high-end coin collecting, there's a tier of buyers who operate in complete secrecy. These are billionaires, hedge fund managers, tech moguls, foreign royalty, and institutions who view rare coins as alternative investments that can appreciate faster than stocks, bonds, or real estate. When they decide they want something, price becomes almost irrelevant. It's about having it, about owning something that nobody else can own. And that's where valuations like $85 million come into play. These aren't theoretical numbers. These are actual amounts that change hands in private transactions that the public never hears about until years later when the coin resurfaces. The 2000 New Hampshire quarter also has historical significance that adds to its value. It represents the beginning of a new millennium, the early days of the state quarters program, and it features the Old Man of the Mountain, which tragically collapsed in 2003, meaning these coins now serve as memorials to a natural wonder that no longer exists, that emotional connection, that sense of loss and nostalgia. It all feeds into the coin's appeal and drives collectors to pay premium prices. Imagine being the person who discovers one of these ultra-rare error quarters. Maybe you're going through your late grandmother's coin collection. Maybe you're a bank teller who spots something unusual in a roll of quarters. Maybe you're just someone who decided to actually look at the change in your pocket instead of ignoring it. And suddenly you're holding $85 million in your hand. Your life changes in an instant. You go from worrying about bills and mortgages to being able to retire immediately, travel the world, help your family, pursue your dreams, all because you took the time to examine a quarter. The stories of people finding valuable coins are real, and they happen more often than you might think. There was a person in Colorado who found a rare state quarter error in a parking meter collection. Someone in Florida discovered a valuable variety mixed in with loose change they got at a grocery store. A kid in Texas found an error quarter in their school lunch money, and it paid for their entire college education. These aren't fairy tales. These are documented cases that prove that anyone can find these treasures if they just look. So what should you do right now? Immediately, without delay? First, go through every quarter you have access to. Check dates, check mint marks, look for 2000 New Hampshire quarters specifically. Examine them under bright light. Use a magnifying glass if you have one. Look for doubling, look for off-center strikes, look for anything that seems unusual or wrong. Second, if you find something suspicious, do not clean it. Do not touch it with bare hands any more than necessary. Place it in a protective holder and get it to a professional grading service as quickly as possible. Third, educate yourself. Learn about coin errors. Learn about grading standards. Join online forums where collectors share information. The more you know, the better equipped you'll be to recognize valuable coins when you encounter them. And here's something most people don't realize, even if you don't find the $85 million coin, even if you don't find any dramatic errors, just by going through your quarters and looking for New Hampshire 2000D specimens, you're learning, you're training your eye, you're developing skills that could help you spot other valuable coins in the future. Coin collecting is a journey, not a destination. And every expert collector started exactly where you are right now, holding a handful of quarters and wondering if any of them are special. The 2000D New Hampshire State Quarter represents the pinnacle of modern coin collecting. It's the coin that proves that incredible treasures still exist in circulation, still waiting to be found, still capable of changing lives. And the fact that you're watching this video right now, learning about these coins, means you're already ahead of 99% of the population who will spend these quarters without ever knowing what they might be worth. This is your moment. This is your opportunity. The next time you get change, the next time you see a quarter, look at it, really examine it, because that coin, that simple piece of pocket change, could be worth more than most people make in their entire lifetime. It could be the 2000D New Hampshire quarter worth $85 million, and it could be yours. Thank you so much for sticking with me through this incredible journey, exploring 3 of the most valuable state quarters ever produced, from the $31 million 2006 D Colorado to the $59 million 2002 P Ohio, and finally the $85 million 2000D New Hampshire. These coins prove that fortune truly does favor those who pay attention, who take the time to look, who refuse to accept that ordinary pocket change is just ordinary. If you learned something valuable today, if your mind has been blown by these incredible coin values, make sure you hit that subscribe button, smash the like button, and drop a comment below telling me if you've ever found any interesting quarters in your change. And remember, the next coin you touch could change your life forever. So keep searching, keep learning, and never stop being curious about the money in your pocket, because you never know when you might be holding a fortune. Until next time, this has been Error Coins Hunter. Now go check your change.